As the festivities for New Year's Eve begin, Sharon is attacked, and Mariah is shocked to discover Tessa in, spoiler, S arms. On today's episode of The Young and the Restless, Nick tells Sharon the good news, Danny surprises Christine, and Phyllis can hardly contain her anger. Tracy interrupts Jack and Diane kissing in the Abbott manse while she's adjusting his tie. She responds that Alan has been stranded by a blizzard when they inquire as to whether he would be there tonight. It appears that their first Christmas and New Year's together will be missed. Diane and Jack urge that she spend the night with them. Harrison is sick, and Kyle is upstairs tending to him. They can have champagne and spend the evening together as a family. Tracy is unable to refuse that. Claire talks to Esther about how great her new life is when she visits Crimson Lights. She is eager to see what 2025 has in store. From the patio, disguised Jordan observes them. As Esther informs Claire that she and her gentleman friend would be having a wild time, she listens. Ian texts Jordan to let him know that society needs to take action. She escapes. Nikki puts her head on Victor's shoulder at the Newman Ranch. They reflect on the year they've had. She has been reflecting on all of their blessings, such as the reunion of Cole and Victoria, the recovery of Connor, and the discovery of Claire. Remember us, my darling, he says. She would always remember. They share a kiss. He continues by saying that there is only one thing looming over them, the chaos surrounding Sharon and Nick's involvement in it. Seeing it rectified is his lone New Year's resolution. When Claire gets to the ranch, she gives her grandparents a hug. Her parents have left for a romantic evening for two, she says. Claire tells Victor that she was shocked that he offered her dad a job while he serves them champagne. Cole is more than qualified, in Victor's opinion. It surprises them that she is there instead of Kyle. She desired to be with her family for her first New Year's as a Newman. They raise a glass to the family's best year yet. Mariah is taken aback when Faith informs her that she will not be attending any of the New Year's parties to which she has been invited at Sharon's. Sharon hopes she isn't causing her daughters to miss out. She declares that she will join them in ringing in the new year at society for the evening. When Mariah asks whether she's certain, her mother says she's prepared to move on from a horrible year. Michael and Lauren are delighted to greet Christine as she enters the Neil Winters Jazz Lounge. While Nina is away and still upset about Chance going back to the police department, she reveals that Danny is snowbound and couldn't make there. They demand that she join them. If she is unable to spend the night with her true love, she claims that they are the best thing she could ever hope for. When they see Phyllis entering with her kids in her arms, the atmosphere depresses. Lauren makes a joke about how the years go by faster as you get older, and Jack, Diane, and Tracy join the celebration. They talk about where the children have been spending the holidays and about their own families. Ashley has returned to Paris already. Phyllis is glaring at them, Christine observes. Why would she give Michael and Lauren the evil eye when she is aware that Phyllis despises her? Michael clarifies that it has to do with Sharon's case. Even though he detests them being out, he will not let it get to him tonight. He reaffirmed his marriage vows on this night last year, and he intends to continue celebrating. Phyllis continues to glare. After 10 minutes of her looking, her son reminds Mom that they all need a drink. She is struggling and finds it incomprehensible that Michael is rejoicing with his pals while endorsing a murderer. She should disregard this and enjoy yourself, her daughter advises. Phyllis says she won't be thinking about this tonight. Jack and Diane go to Daniel to check in after Phyllis leaves. He acknowledges that he is focusing on the now. Jack tells him that if he ever needs to chat, he will be available. Summer inquires about Harrison, who seems to have the same virus as Lucy. Jack is certain that Heather would prefer that they look forward to the new year rather than backward. Michael tells Christine at a table that Sharon has used hypnosis to access a wealth of suppressed memories. She has yet to identify the actual murderer. That's what matters, according to Christine. Michael is certain that they will establish her innocence. Phyllis abruptly shows up and accuses him of selling snake oil when he tells that the issue has been reopened. Despite her best efforts to remain silent, she is certain that this new probe will blow them away. Asking if Danny became shrewd and abandoned her, she makes fun of Cricket. They're doing good, Christine assures her. He's hunkered down with some groupie, according to Phyllis. Lauren tells Phyllis to relax and have fun at the celebration. Phyllis is led away by her children who interrupt her. Diane will undoubtedly be ignored by Phyllis as she greets Jack and Tracy a Happy New Year on the way to their table. When Phyllis and her kids are seated, they have a drink. Daniel acknowledges that he's not feeling well and that Heather keeps coming to mind. Their mother claims she won't discuss any of this. She takes her kids' hands and says that this year will be better for everyone. Her son is grateful for the positive energy. Danny surprised Christine in the bar. She finds it hard to believe. They share a kiss. Phyllis gives them grimaces and glares. Daniel approaches his father and gives him a hug. For him, Danny was going to get there. He gets thanked by his son for looking after Lucy. They make fun of her bossiness, and Daniel acknowledges that it's difficult to keep up. Every time he feels like he can go on, something complicates things. Danny, who reminds them all of Tracy's singing career, is welcomed by Jack, Diane, and Tracy. He inquires about Alan's growth and informs her that she is deserving of happiness. Phyllis jumps up, barely able to handle it all. Summer pleads with her to do nothing. After reassuring her that she won't make her feel uncomfortable, her mother leaves. Daniel asks his sister if she thinks Chance will show up at midnight. He works the graveyard shift, she explains. Although they have improved, things are still not back on track. She will be forced to kiss him at midnight, according to her brother. Abby tells Tessa at Society how naturally she is good at her profession. She is a blessing, and she finds it hard to believe a year has passed. Tessa comments on how thankful she is for her life with Mariah and Arya as she continues to talk about the pleasures of marriage. The way they have been handling the Sharon situation is admirable, according to Abby. According to Tessa, there is hope at last, and she is holding on to it in the hopes that the upcoming year will go well. Ian looks at them through the window. When Devon and Abby get together on New Year's, they discuss how different it is to be married. They sneak inside the kitchen for truffle fries while taunting one another. Nick informs Mariah that he has some news when he drops by Sharon's. She's hoping for the nice kind. He tells her that it is, but he wants to tell her mother first. The news that Sharon intends to spend the evening at Society surprises him. Given that the actual murderer is still at large, he is unsure if this is the ideal night for her to be outside. Nick is trying to secure her safety. Mariah notes that she should be safe because the restaurant will be crowded. After checking in with his folks, he makes the decision that he will also travel. Faith interrupts to remark that her mother seems to be back to her usual self. When Sharon descends, they are impressed by her attire. She invites him to join them in celebrating. He declares that he had a conversation with Michael and that the police had decided to reopen the case. They think you're real, Faith erupts. Her mother grins. Nick is certain that Chance was following procedure but had always believed her. He is sure they will find evidence to exonerate her. Faith notes that Nick put in the most effort on her behalf, and Sharon thanks everyone for their faith. They arrange for someone to drive them to the celebration. Mariah drives off after Sharon makes the decision to drive alone. Nick says he's working on getting Sharon protection after she confesses that she's still terrified about the real killer being out there. Faith and Nick visit his parents at the ranch. Victor is shocked to learn that Sharon is going out to celebrate after they talk about how things are going. Nick declares that there might be significant changes in Sharon's case. They take a seat and describe Sharon's recovery from hypnosis. Investigators are currently working to determine Heather's killer. For Faith's sake in particular, Victor is pleased to hear this. Claire talks to her folks after arriving from the stables. When Tessa returns to Society, Mariah calls to let her know that Sharon will be visiting. Tessa is eager. Ian sneaks in and asks if she can make a reservation as she hangs up the phone. Although she says they are fully booked, she will note his name. He takes her water bottle and starts doping it as soon as she moves away. When he gets back, Tessa tells him that if there is a cancellation, she will call. He watches her take a drink of water as he leaves. Devin and Abby resume kissing and discussing how wonderful everything is. He assures her that each day spent with her marks the start of eternity. She acknowledges that's a little corny. Tessa tells them she's feeling really dizzy as she staggers over. She leaves to get a snack. She comes back a few minutes later, hiccuping, and says she has to get some fresh air outside. Ian is waiting when she wanders out the door. She falls into his arms without hesitation. He gets a ventilator out and helps her inhale. Mariah approaches and inquires about the situation. When she recognizes Ian, she is startled. Jordan jumps up behind Sharon as she exits her vehicle. She makes her go limp by chloroforming her. Genoa City is constantly bustling with activity when it comes to the young and the restless. This week has been no exception. For all the information you require, continue reading below. What's going on with today's young and the restless? We've got everything you need here for YNR lovers who need a little refresher. When Victor and Nikki couldn't help but wonder what Nick's plans were with Sharon in the Monday episode, the drama really got going. Additionally, Danny hurried home to surprise Chastain on New Year's Eve, while Ian and Jordan made a risky move. The Young and the Restless returned to November on Tuesday, December 31st, when Victor took Nikki home to the Newman Ranch. Devin and Abby also completed their wedding preparations. So, what's going on The Young and the Restless today? Fortunately, we know the solution. Additionally, a classic episode from April 2006 of The Young and the Restless will air in which Sharon confronts Phyllis about her romance with Nick. Additionally, Victoria will hold a secret from Brad, and Jack will strike a deal with a problem at Chabot. Despite being a classic, this one is unquestionably good. Jordan targets a new victim in the Thursday, January 2nd episode, while Nick makes a startling discovery. Mariah's history also haunts her. It's unclear, though, if she will receive the assistance she requires. Spoilers for The Young and the Restless, Victor takes action. As Kyle and Claire enjoy a lavish New Year's celebration, Victor threatens Ian in the episode that airs on Friday, January 3rd. In addition, Phyllis will tell Daniel a secret. You won't want to miss this important episode. Please share your opinions in the comments section below to let us know what you think in the interim. Wednesday, January 1st, 2024, a rerun of the April 6, 2006 episode of Young and Restless airs today, with Gloria complaining to Catherine about Jack, Michael being called in to protect Chabot, and Sharon confronting Phyllis about Nick. Phyllis tells Sharon in her office that she really hopes she could reverse this. She exhorts Sharon to take any necessary action. Sharon informs her that she didn't give her permission to sleep with her husband and that she doesn't need permission to be angry with her. They didn't intend for things to go this way, according to Phyllis. Sharon yells at her, saying she has gone too far. Sharon claims that Phyllis's constant apologies are pointless. Nick is still in love with his wife, according to the redhead. The only reason it happened was because she was unable to stop. Nick wanted to sort things out, so he called it off. The other woman is still in love with him, Sharon is certain. She is certain that she is merely a desperate lady. Sharon accuses Phyllis of exploiting Nick when she tries to clarify that Cassie was the reason he was disconnected. When she claims that she didn't use Cassie's situation as a justification for cheating, Phyllis shakes her head and points out that she nearly did the same thing with Brad. Sharon explains that she resisted because she values commitment. Nick and Phyllis, meantime, continued to do it everywhere, including the stables. You're raising a son and you're a dog in heat. How pitiful, Sharon remarks as she leaves. Gloria at the Abbott estate prevents Michael from expressing his regret for John's incarceration because she doesn't want to talk about her hasty decision. She can't take all of this pessimism. She encourages him to surprise himself and maintain an open mind. Jack called me for help, he says. That makes them giggle. It's the smartest thing Junior has done in a long time, she says. She claims that if everything goes as she hopes, Jack will require much more than a competent attorney once he departs. When Brad enters Nick's Newman office, he sees the bag on his couch. Nick excuses himself by saying he might be traveling. Brad mentions that Sharon canceled her promotional tour due to stress. Is there a problem? Nick advises him to avoid this. Brad thinks this has to do with his wedding arrangements. According to Nick, private and personal matters should not be discussed in the workplace. Just treat her well, he begs him. Brad promises to keep his distance from Victor. JT was recruited to look into him. He acknowledges that he dislikes seeing her with his former partner. That his sister is enduring this astounds Nick. Jack, Nikki, Jill, and Catherine discuss the Glow Again factory problem at Jabot. Jack acknowledges that he has spoken with Michael over this. Catherine isn't certain that's a smart move. Gloria is Michael's mother, and she believes they must prevent any suggestion of improper behavior. When Michael shows up, Jack suggests that it could be beneficial for them to have the son of one of their victims stand up for them. As Jill notes, the lawyer despises him. Michael claims that Jabot will put in a lot of effort to achieve his mother's level of well-being. Nikki leaves after deciding that this is good. Jack keeps trying to sell Catherine on Michael. The lawyer claims that this would offer him the opportunity to atone for his feelings of responsibility for John. Catherine will not oppose the majority, and Jill concurs. They'd better hope she's not mistaken, she says. According to Michael, they should employ a two-pronged approach, covering costs and proposing a settlement that avoids admitting guilt and a drawn-out legal struggle. Millions of dollars will be spent on this. To avoid this, Michael is arranging a news conference. Although it's a risk, they have the ability to turn Jabot into yet another victim. Later, Mr. Gibson, whose wife was harmed by a Glow Again sample, is met by Jack and Michael. Jack shows him his respect and expresses how distressing this whole situation is. They want to pay for his wife's bills. According to Michael, the incident is still being looked into. To avoid coming across as crude, a monetary settlement can facilitate a speedy resolution. He gives him a pen and a signed document. He reads it and discovers that he is not permitted to bring them before the court at a later time. He says he will see them in court and leaves without signing. Victoria and JT stroll through Newman's hallways, and he shares with her what he has discovered. Brad is a deadly golfer but not a serial killer. She makes fun of him for offering her counsel. She announces that they are finished when Brad gets there, and the PI leaves. They argue about her supporting her father's intention to have him looked into. She believes he is being unjust. Nick and Nikki go down the corridor discussing the issue with Glow Again as Brad stomps out. She shares her plans for a family supper with him when they get at his office. That's a poor concept, in his opinion. She reassures him that if necessary, his father can treat Brad with civility.